Why, hello, hello. Infinite Aaron here. This is just a test at the moment to see how my system's working for me to begin broadcasting my solo campaign for Forbidden Lands, as you can see on the screen. I'm just kind of playing with the settings at the moment, testing the voice levels, and kind of seeing how it's going to look on YouTube at the moment until I can start streaming on the regular. I may start tonight, talk about a few things, and we'll see where it goes from there. Let me see here. So, since I am streaming the screen, technically I could bring up documents in the Forbidden Lands in the actual window for people to look at, which is possible. But we'll see here in a minute. What is there? It's the player's handbook. All right, very good. So, Forbidden Lands, as you know, is a Free League publishing product, and I have had it for quite some time. And I'm using this as a way to clear my shelf. Let's put it that way. Clear the shelf to see the games that I've collected over time that I've never had a chance to play, and or my friends have not shown interest in attempting to play those systems. And at this day and age, I'm quite busy, so I don't have a lot of free time to allocate a specific schedule to running games and or playing in games. As a matter of fact, I have a weekly, bi-weekly Star Wars game, and I play in a bi-weekly Gamma World game. This Friday is supposed to be Star Wars. I'm not prepared to run Star Wars this Friday, but I'm going to give it my best. Hopefully I can just upload the map that's needed and we'll get started. I'm using the D6 version of Star Wars, but I wish to switch back to Shadow Dark. I was part of the original Kickstarter for Shadow Dark. I am waiting for my West Marches Kickstarter to deliver. I have what virtual data that she has provided at this time, or they have provided at this time. I did send a note through the Kickstarter asking when are we going to get a world map, because primarily I'll wing what I need to as long as I have a world for the people to start adventuring in, right? As it is, I have the scrolls, so I could run them through scrolls, but I want to make an integrated Western Marches world, right? If they want to go past the edge of the map, I want to know where that it leads to. I don't want to hodgepodge, conjoin everything. Now, having said that, like I said, this is going to be my Forbidden Lands stream. This is going to be my solo play of Forbidden Lands. I have the full box set. I have the Book of Beasts. I've just recently received that. I have the dice. I have the maps. And I also went so far as to go to Free League and get the Forge assets for the core game, Book of Beasts, which has the solo rules within it. And I also have the Raven's Purge? Raven's... Let me see if I can remember what it's called. Not the Bitter Reach, not the Blood March. Raven's Reckoning is what I also have. So I have Raven's Reckoning. I have those virtual assets and I have them loaded in the virtual tabletop, so I can literally look up anything I need to. Now, obviously, I'm looking at this, right? And my camera is here, but I'm sure people don't want to look at the side of my head while I watch the game, right? Maybe I'll put it on my monitor above, but then you'll be looking at my neck, or I'll just have to bring it down here and I'll put my controls to the right, which is probably better, but then you're not looking at my stream. So let me fix this real quick. Let me do here. Let me go to the Foundry VTT. Let me edit this. Edit. Properties. There we go. And we're gonna pick this display. Thank you very much. So that takes care of that. And then I need to pick some additional items, like I'll have to put my chat over here so you don't see that, obviously, and currently you're looking at that. So the roll window, let me revise that as well. Let me change its properties, which are going to be that monitor right there. So now when I go here, you should be looking at the roll properties, and I can turn it off and on as needed. So there we go. I've got my camera and I've got my logo. So now I can play the game and I can look at the people while I'm playing the game. Now I have the dice as well. I have the cards as well. I wouldn't mind using the virtual roller for it, right, for the game. So I can do the virtual, let me turn the roll window back on. Boom. The only problem with my screen setup over here is, let me just move my mail that I have piled up in front of my keyboard, which prevents me from seeing the bottom right hand side of my screen. So I wouldn't mind using the virtual roller in the system. That's not going to be a problem. And I can set up hotkeys at the bottom. Yeah, that's nice. Let me close that. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. Bye-bye community guide rules. Very good. So I'll have the chat off to the side so I can view that chat as I'm streaming. So I can review that. And as I said, I have Forbidden Lands in its own tab on my desk in my browser of choice. So if I were to switch over from a browser to something else, then you would see that. So I do need to be careful that I don't do that, or I'll have to pull out a separate browser tab. Let me see if I can do that real quick. If I can grab this tab and bring it over here. There we go. Look at that. So now I have it in its own tab, so we don't have to worry about that. I've restricted the Foundry VTT tabletop so that it's seeing the actual table. And the primary reason for that is so that you can see the primary play surface, and I can center it and view in and do what needs to make it the viable focus of the game, right? I can also turn off my screen if I need to, so then you can see more. I can turn off my roll when I need to, so you can see more as well. I may be setting up some combat windows, some combat maps, and distances within Forbidden Lands they're not a set number, right? Now, having said that, a hex is 10 kilometers. Okay, there's a set number. But when you get into combat, the distances are like hand-to-hand, near, far, adjacent, zone, right? So it's a zone-based combat model, which is probably familiar to many people. So I may set up some default maps for grasslands, for forest, for hills, for mountain, for water, etc. So that way we can at least maybe set up the figures that are in combat, because I do like to visualize the play of the fight where possible, if not using an actual map that represents something of that nature. So we'll keep that in mind. Let me get back to the virtual tabletop. So here we are here. All right. So actually, let's go. Welcome to Forbidden Lands, and let's do Welcome to Raven's Purge. There we go. All right. So Raven's Purge is the default backdrop that's currently in here, but I can also go through here and bring up all of the different books, the different sources of information within it. That's part of the data that's available when you get the virtual tabletop assets directly from Free League. So I have all of the documents, everything within here that I can display to everybody. I'm also going to keep a journal, right? So I have the Journey of Aramis, which Aramis is my character. Now, I did already create my two characters, my primary and my companion. Solga, which is a goblin role lady, and then Aramis, who is an Alderlander human. They're both young, and I used the rules for solo play in the Book of Beasts. So let me close that and bring that up really quick. So we'll bring up Book of Beasts. Not adventure sites. What do we got? Not the bestiary, not the adventure sites. So it doesn't look like I can bring up the actual Book of Beasts other than the bestiary and things of that nature. So the solo rules from the Book of Beasts may not be shown right here, which is interesting because the solo rules are part of the game system, part of what I got within the Book of Beasts that I can play solo. Having said that, some of the assets that I have within the game, obviously, is I have the Drive-Thru RPG solo expansion, which allows you to play Matt Kay, whom wrote the solo rules for Free League that are in the Book of Beasts. He has since upgraded those rules, having, now that it met the public and it has gone through some iterations, he's fine-tuned it. So I will be using those, which are available on Drive-Thru RPG. On, does he call himself a business? Free League Workshop by Matt Kay. It's called the Solo Expansion. So we have all of that. Now in the Solo Expansion, I'm going to go to Expanded Journeying. And within the Expanded Journeying, they have an expanded travel mishap guide. They also have a foraging, hunting, fishing mishap, a make camp mishap, lead the way mishap, and then they have a new version of weather for the game, as well as an expanded table of hunting results when you do hunt/forage in this game. So the expanded weather table uses cards. Now, I haven't tried, let's see if we go to cards here. Let me just go to, so we got an Oracle hand, we got a Mounts hand, we got initiative cards, we got artifacts. So there isn't a separate, just general deck of cards. But I could use the Oracle deck. I could deal a card. Yes, that's fine. Top first right there, that's fine. Which then has an output here, right? Dealt one card to each. Where did my card go? Where's my hand, right? So there's that problem right there, and that's what I'm trying to, let me reset, right? Yes, I want to reset the Oracle deck. Thank you very much. Close that down. Now these rollable tables, Book of Beasts, we got camps, Kaymaster tools, journey descriptions, miscellaneous random table, solo table, stronghold weather. So there is the Book of Beasts solo tables to roll in here, but I'm looking for just a deck of cards, right? So what's my Oracle hand right here? I have nothing in my Oracle hand. So I guess it's outputting here. So if I do Oracle deck and I say deal a card, right? One card, thank you very much, deal. Is it going to put it into my Oracle hand? Apparently not, right? So let me reset the Oracle deck. Yes, thank you. Let me close this down. So let me go to my hand. Here's my hand. Let me draw a card from my hand. Draw from Oracle. Thank you very much. Top first, draw a card. There we go. All right. So I can get cards here, and I wonder if it shows it here. It drew one card, but it doesn't display it for everybody, right? So if I put it in the middle of the board here, at least we can see it that way. The other option is I can use the actual deck of cards that comes with the game, which would be much more tactile and probably funner for me. And actually, there's the card. Everybody can look. All right. The other option is if I get a separate streaming device, a second camera, that can overlay a dice tray or something of that nature, then I can have a side hand that I can deal things in. Maybe I can roll the tactile dice, which would be nice. But right now I just have the one streaming device, so that's not going to give me an option to display at the moment other than using the actual roll on the screen. And you can see the output in the left-hand thing here. So what's going on? Control panel. I'm streaming. Alright, so let me go to YouTube. Let me go to my account. View your channel. Let me see if I'm live streaming or if everything that I've done. Okay, very good. I do have my live channel currently going on, which is nice. So I have that test and it's currently working. So I am going to be live streaming. I am obviously going to rename this from testing. This is going to be Forbidden Lands Solo Journey. But I'm kind of meandering at this moment because I am just testing, as you can see. So, having said that, let's take a look at our characters real quick. So, Aramis, I rolled randomly on the solo rules, which is in the Book of Beasts. Let me see if I can do Book of Beasts solo rules. There we go. Okay, so I can find them. There we go. So in the solo rules, you create an adventure by giving them basically a life path. Well, I'm sorry. I'm wrong already. Not a life path. There is a book that came with it called Legend. Is it Legends and Adventures? Hold on a minute, second. Let me make sure. Legend and Adventures. Is this the book right here? Legend Generator, backstories, yes, Kin, Home Engine, yes. So the Legends and Adventures book, or pamphlet, I guess you could say, 32-page book, 39-page book, has within it a life path system. Now, if you use the solo rules in the game, it basically tells you, hey, do this, do X, Y, right? According to the character creation in the book, you would then, for your primary character, you follow these rules, right? You pick one, if you're using the standard method of character creation, you give your character one additional general talent, Lucky's recommended, and 2 extra skill points. If you're using the life pack, path character generation system. Let me minimize this so I can see my chat. Let me bring my chat back up to the fold. Right, let me put it on top here again. What is the tab for my chat? That's the question. Is it an OBS tab? Interesting. Alright, I'm not seeing the chat as a additional item that I can select the box. It's a pop-out screen at the moment. Come on, give me the edge of it so I can expand it. Apparently not. Alright. It's not a modifiable window that I can see. Alright. So I have a chat screen. Alright. And I just wanted to find a way to easily access it to get it to the top of the screen. I'm going to close the roll camera. Alright, so within the solo rules, which are covered by my head right now, you basically can use the standard rules given to you in the player's handbook. Or you can use the additional Legends and Adventure booklet. And it gives you an additional... And if you do that, you give yourself one additional formative event when you are young. And then it's advised that you swap one of your general talents for the lucky talent. So within here, my talents I received are a human, Path of Stone because I was a sorcerer, Defender was one of my general, and I can't remember what the second one was. It might have been Quartermaster, I believe, but I changed it to Lucky on recommendations of the book. So I'm following the book, right? So having said that, looking at my kin here, if we look at his main talents, he's age 22. He's got 3 strength, agility, 5 wits, and 4 empathy. So he has the wits to make him a decent spellcaster. So I have that going for me at the moment. And my talents, I currently, as I said, Path of Stone is the sorcery school that I have, which is Dust from the Deep, which is basically a dust cloud that you would then cast so that you can get away, basically, which in a solo game, probably not a bad idea. So I accepted Path of Stone. I basically rolled randomly for all of these items, and some of these talents you get during the course of the the Legends and Adventurers book, basically. Let me see if they have this. Game Master's Guide, no. Raven's Purge is not going to have it, no. Player's Handbook's not going to have it. Let's see what the journey reference says. No, that's just how you journey. Alright, the solo rules doesn't have it. So I don't have that booklet as a journal entry for me to display. It's not really going to do much for anybody other than it helps you create your backstory. Alright, so having said that, in my bio, I chose for my pride, you have read many books and you know the ways of the world. And if we look at my main, my primary strength is lore. So one of the items when I was rolling up my life path, so childhood, let me go to my notes here. So my home region was the fields of Margelda, and that's where I have set myself up on the map to begin. The childhood was hard studies, which just happened to be what I rolled after I had already rolled my class. So let's see, I chose Alderlander Human, and then I rolled my childhood, which came up as hard studies, which gave me strength 3, agility 3, wits 5, empathy 4, gave me crafting 1, lore 3, insight 1, manipulation 1. And the doggies are doing their thing, so we can hear them barking. I'll probably need to close my door if and when I stream. So I'm a learned man or woman, etc. Let's let the barking go on there. Alright. So that was my childhood. Alright, so I gained the 1 childhood item. Then I rolled for my profession and I got sorcerer. Just happened to be very fortuitous that I got sorcerer as my profession when I had hard studies as a child. So that gave me a leg up, at least in regards to my wits attribute. So my formative event as a sorcerer, there's a different table for every different formative event. My formative event as a sorcerer, the first one, was enlisted. You were enlisted in a company of soldiers, spent a long time in the field where you assisted with your magical expertise. You saw comrades killed, but you managed to make it out with just an ugly scar or 2. So under enlisted, I received studded leather armor, a closed helmet, and a short sword, and I added melee 1, healing 1, and defender. That's where I got that first talent. My second formative event was secluded studies. I believe I rolled enlisted again, and I said no. So I re-rolled that. There's only 6 formative events. Technically, you would only roll 1 until you were young of age if you used the life path method to create your character. The added benefit of playing solo is you need to roll an additional formative event when you're young. Okay? So I chose to roll again, obviously, and that's when I received Secluded Studies as my second. That gave me an additional lore 1, survival 1, and quartermaster, as I indicated. So I added the lore to the already insanely high 3 lore, so I have a 4 lore. And I also gained 1 survival, which is very nice. I swapped out quartermaster for lucky. I also received a small tent, a cauldron, and a knife. Okay. Then I rolled to see how I met my companion. It was during an ambush through the Forbidden Lands that me and my party were ambushed. Your friends were slain in the battle, but you were rescued at the last minute by some strangers. Hence, I was rescued by Solga, who brought you to safety. You've been friends ever since. So that's how we're going to start the game. Relationship with Solga, my relationship, she doubts my magical power. The Fool. So that's my my relationship with Solga that you get. So my pride, read many books, know the ways of the world. My dark secret, I have a yearning for more magical power, and it's stronger than anything else. All right, my descriptions, I gave myself a clean face with curly blonde hair. I'm fit, but with a soft left hand and a hard right hand, because my gear, I have a longsword, and I'll explain how my gear ended up here in a moment. And my clothing, simple but worn traveling clothing with hints from an old uniform. So that's what I gave myself as my clothing. I chose simple, but I added in the little extra bit that because I was recruited or enlisted in a military at some point, that it made up part of it from my old uniform. All right, gear. I still chose to go to the gear section in the player's handbook. So if we look at the core game player's handbook, let me go to there. So we're going to go to the player's handbook. We're going to go to your adventure, and within your adventure, you've got your gear. So I chose to follow the same starting gear on top of what you would normally get, which is what you should do. All right. So I get, if it says weapon of choice, pick one from the tables, etc. So when it says starting gear, you need to go to your profession. So your profession gives you some gear. Where are the professions in the player's handbook? So kin, profession. So sorcerer, so it's not listed here. It's not giving you that information here, professions. So it doesn't, within the game, it doesn't give you everything, right? It keeps out sort of the core things of the game where you would want to own the physical property, right? The core of the game. So it doesn't explain the professions. Within the profession of sorcerer, which is where I got my pride and my dark secret, wits is my key attribute, and the skills, my life path gave those to me. Okay, and the relationship I did choose from there as well. Now the gear, you start with a staff or a knife, and I chose a knife, and one item of choice from the list of trade goods. You start with D8 silver, D6 food, D8 water. So I have obviously 9 silver so far, which you're like, okay, how's that work? D6 food, D8 water. So I had a short sword, I had 2 knives at this point, and some other things. The item of choice I chose was a set of bandages, which are in my backpack. You also start with, in your gear, let me go down to the gear. Let me find that. Actually, it's gear. So in gear, you start the game with, come on, where is it? In addition to these items, you're assumed to have a knapsack and a water skin. All right. Gear used to carry other gear does not count towards your encumbrance. So the backpack is / my knapsack. There doesn't happen to be an actual knapsack in the items. So it's interesting that they say that you have a knapsack in the rules, but you don't. So I have my simple clothes, I have my studded leather, and I have a long sword. So what I did was I returned my closed helm or my open helm and my short sword, and I took a long sword instead. And the primary reason why is you get more damage, 2 damage, with a long sword versus 1 for a short sword. And it gives you the option to make a heavy strike with it as well. So I wanted to give my character as much capability in hand-to-hand combat. Within Forbidden Lands, this is very nitty-gritty, very hardcore. So when I say that, yes, I have magical spells. It's not easy to cast those spells. You have to gain willpower through failure or through rerolls in order to gain willpower. And we'll explain pushing the dice when and if it comes to that. Currently my experience is 0, my reputation is 0, willpower is 0, and that's my gear. So we've got my main, we've got my gear, which I traded out, so I have a longsword and studded leather. I'm currently overweight. And this is where my companion comes in. I have 9 silver currently. And I need to see if I can buy more food and maybe torches as well. I need to figure out how you get more of the core resources. So I'll need to figure that out. Solga, on the other hand, is a goblin rogue. Now, your companion doesn't get any talents. Okay? But having said that, I assume they get their race talent by default. That's not a talent you gain through class advancement. And Wanderer is their young talent that they get, their childhood development, basically, before they've even rolled their profession. So I left those both in. Let me post the talent. So Wanderer, you can travel on foot through the wilderness for a long time without stopping for rest. Rank 1, your endurance roll is modified by +1 when you force march and you see journey. So if and when it comes up, we'll put that in. Now, having said that, no other talents. No spells. They're a rogue, which means they don't get a rogue profession. Rogues themselves have 3 paths that they go through. Let me see here. Profession, the paths, which are talents, basically. You get or choose one of the talent packages from its class. And based on that, being a companion, I guess they don't get a talent package. Which means, other than just being a rogue in name, they don't really have much else going for them. So, she got a 4 strength, 4 agility, 4 wits, and 3 empathy. I use the life path method under the solo rules, but companions mean the difference between life and death, right? Playing with a PC can playing with 2 PCs can water down the experience. So instead of having 2 PCs, try to focus on one, which is Aramis. And give the companion more of a supporting role in your story. You can also play with multiple companions, but it is recommended you start with one and slowly add members to your party as story progresses. Pardon me. Companions have no willpower points and cannot push their rolls. Same thing, I guess, for NPCs, but I need to find that out. I saw that in another person's solo stream, that they were kind of asking that same question of themselves. Can the NPCs push their rolls? So I don't know. So before I continue here, let me talk a little bit about what I've done. So I have read the player's book basically through to the end. And then I read the bare beginning of the Game Master book. I haven't read any of the legends, nothing of that sort. Same thing with the Raven's Purge. From what I understand, the Raven's Purge adds a number of additional potential adventure sites. So when you get a random adventure and you're in Raven's Purge, it becomes part of the process of locating those locations, which unfold the story. Now, I did read enough that in the Game Master book that I should be giving my characters legends. And it's good that Aramis has a high lore, because basically around the campfire at the end of every game night, he will spin a tale, and that's where I'll provide another legend for the characters to sort of follow. Alright. So I've tried to keep as much information out of my head of the game world than read everything and then just kind of, well, I don't know that. I'm going to use the Oracle to make a decision, right? Because I'm going to try and make as many decisions as I can if I don't have information to drive that decision, right? I'm going to try and play as myself, making my own decisions. Only when I know too much will I bring the Oracle in, or it's literally a situation of, I don't know where I'd go from here. Let's check the Oracle. Alright, so companions have no willpower, cannot push. Companions should rarely roll for themselves, instead giving a help die in many situations, except when journeying, when they can and should roll independently. And what that means when we do our first initial journey, then you'll understand what this means more. Basically, there are roles that the characters take during the journey step of the game before you have encounters, etc. It's sort of the meat of the game, is journeying across the map, exploring and just coming across the different things and discovering them. During the journey step, the companion will be given a role and will need to roll for that role. But in all other situations, they're basically just going to be a backup to my main character. If your main PC dies, then the companion can get upgraded to replace the main PC at this point. Give them their kin talent. There we go. Their kin talent. A profession talent, so they don't get their kin talent. And a number of extra general talents according to the table in character creation. So they do not get their kin talent. Well, let's go here. Let's go to my talents. Let's delete that. And let's delete Wanderer. So they are literally just a dude or a woman in this instance that is following along. I need to see what the ages are for goblins. Age. Let's go to the age section here. Okay, goblins. So young is 16 to 25. So they can both be the same age. So she'll be 22 as well. Part of what ties them together. Okay, so other than that, she's basically just a list of skills and attributes that will come into play as it occurs. Now, having said that, she does have her own equipment and she does have gear. So she currently has 26 experience points, or 26 silver. She is overweight as well. Now, encumbrance is based, well, she's not overweight as of yet. Encumbrance is based on your strength times 2. So she has an 8 carrying capacity. She's currently at 4.5. She's not overburdened or encumbered. And my cat has made an appearance and decided that meow is the word of the day. Now, Aramis is encumbered. He only has a strength of 3. With his gear, he's currently carrying 9, so he's very he's encumbered. He's over double his encumbrance. So he is currently weighted down. And the effect of encumbrance in the game is such that when you journey, when you take a hike action on the map, then it has a ramification. I have to make, I believe, an endurance roll. And if I fail that endurance roll, then he suffers some damage, but does get to continue the exploration. He's just winded, right? Alright, Solga. Let's get Solga up here. So she had a number of things. One of her life path events was that she was part of a robbery. Let's go to her notes. So her bio, she has nothing here because I need to figure out her face, her body, and her clothing. Now, note, she's from the Gloom of Fangwoods. She was a child of the woods. She grew up under the cover of the forest. Now, if we look at the child of the woods for the goblin, so dwarf, elf, goblin, child of the woods, you grew up under the cover of the forest. You climbed the trees and felt the wind whisper among the leaves. It is in the forest that you feel safe, and you know its creatures will always protect you. So that's where she got her core stats. Endurance 1, Move 1, Marksmanship 1, Scouting 1, Survival 1. Scouting 1 and Survival 2, are both excellent options. Because more than likely, Aramis will lead the way, and Solga will be keeping watch with her scouting. That was her childhood. Her first life path item If we go to Rogue, so let's do Hunter, we got Sorcerer, we got Fighter, we've got Peddler, we've got Mitchell, we got Rogue, right there, was Successful Heist. And in Successful Heist, they received an item from the valuable finds in a lair, and you re-roll if the results were below 33. She got a cabinet, and the cabinet within the goods sells for a significant amount of silver. I think it was 18 silver. So I sold it because you're allowed to sell your initial items in order to outfit yourself for adventure. She gains Sleight of Hand 1, Stealth, and Lucky as a talent, but you don't get the talent. And there goes my wife. Alright, additional formative was a band of robbers. You disappear into the woods and joined a band of robbers that lived off peddlers and caravans who stumbled into their path. Life in the forest was carefree and good for as long as it lasted, but in the end the robbers were ousted from the woods, and she got a short sword right there. So she also had, within her normal gear, was her backpack. She got to choose, I believe, 3 items, which I gave her lockpicks, 10 meters of rope, and a water skin. And I think she also got a dagger as well, because I believe you get a dagger. So I had her sell her cabinet, which gave her a bunch of silver. She starts with D6 water, D6 food, vice versa. We'll discuss more of that. She received melee 1 and survival 1. So her survival is actually survival 3 at the moment. So she has a very high survival, which is nice. And a scouting 1. So we're very well equipped, so to speak, for being young characters for heading out into the wilds. Alright. So those are the primary characters. What are we going to talk about next? Those were the characters. Let me go to his main. Alright, let's close the solo rules here. Let's go to my Journal of Aramis. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Alright, so you're going to see the game reboot here in a second because I'm going to go to my settings. I'm going to go to my modules. And I'm going to add Simple Calendar. So let me save module settings. Yes, restart. So you'll get to watch the restart of the game. I'm going to shut my camera for just a minute so I can eat some food in my mouth. Alright. One of the items, as I chunk down the food, I should have had some water, which I have a little bit. Alright, one of the items that I got is, it's basically the calendar. Is that Raven's Reckoning? Raven's Reckoning is the calendar. Alright. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify the Simple Calendar so that it matches the calendar designed for the game. Alright. So, I don't care about time. I don't need time to actually pass while I'm playing the game. And I don't want to use it for chat messages, things of that nature. So theme, dark, which is fine. We'll open up the Simple Calendar when I start, which is perfectly good. I don't need it to open in compact view. I'll allow it to remember its position, which I'm going to drink some water here real quick. Excuse me. I'll turn my camera back on. Alright. So, the settings for the calendar. So we're going to change this calendar, obviously, to match the actual game calendar. Now, the game calendar only has 8 months in it. It has basically spring, summer, fall, and winter, 2 months within each of those seasons, but the calendars are 45 to 46 days long, so they obviously are not our calendar. And then do the moons. I didn't see if the moons changed each year, so let me take a look real quick. So new moon is on there. 1166. 1165. 1165 apparently is the starting year of the game, which is, I plan to follow that. Alrighty. So you know what I'm going to do? No, we'll do this setting and then I'll end my test and I'll set up my actual stream and then maybe we can do a little stream. But it's 7 o'clock already, so I don't have too much time. Alright. So opening on low, note reminder, side drawer, blah, 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 persistent, blah, blah, blah. Alright, very good. So settings, general settings. Calendar name is going to be Raven's Reckoning. So we're going to call it Raven's Reckoning. Alright, let me delete that. Ravens. We'll use the actual apostrophe. Reckoning. Although I don't know if it has... I think it's Ravens like that. Alright. No, we don't game... It does not tie into the game world time. There we go. None. So we don't want game world time integration. Tell somebody how to integrate itself with the game world time and respond to the game world time updates. So no. Alright. Display options. Here we go. So now we have how it will display the date at the top of its thing, so to speak. It's year, date, it's month, which it gives a reduced month with 2 day numbers and then a 4-digit year. So that will work. Month, year format is month, year. Interesting. The format text used to put together to display text for just the month and year that appears on the top of the calendar. Alright, we'll adjust. Oh, so that's March 2026, right. Alright. Chat message timestamp, which is fine. Alright, so year settings. Here we go. Current year is 1165. 65. Hello, I know how to type. We want the postfix, which is AS. I need to find out more about that, but it's obviously been 1,165 years after this event, whatever that event may be, and you'd like to think somebody with a lore 4 would potentially know that. Calculate how much time has passed, so we're going to say 1165 for now, right? How to determine the order of year names, which is default starting year for names is year 0, which is fine. We have no year names, right? So there is no year names. Alright, month settings. Here we go. So we only have 8. So we're going to remove that one, we're going to remove that one, and that one, and that one. There we go. Alright, and this is Spring Rise, is what this one's called. Spring Rise. And it has 45 days. Thank you very much. This is Spring Wane, and it has 46 days. And then we have Summer Rise, Summer Wane. You can see the theme that's going on here, right? Summer Rise has 46. Summer Wane. Summer Wane has 46. And then we have Fall Rise. Yeah, Fall Rise, Fall Wane. Very good. So, Fall Rise, which is 45 days. Fall Wane. Fall Wane, which is 46 days. Winter Rise, which has 45. Very good. 45. And then Winter Wane. Wane, there we go, which has 46 days. All right. So intercalary month, if this month is to be considered an intercalary month or not. I believe intercalary month is if it has an extra day every so often, right? So the days of the week are interesting, so we'll get to those in a minute. So there we go. There's our months. We got spring rise through winter wane. There's the number of days, not intercalary, which is fine. All right. Weekday settings. All right. It has 1, 2, 3. It has 7 days, which is fine. It has Sunday. It has Moon Day. Moon Day. Hello. Use the O, not the 0. Moon Day. Blood Day. 2 Ds. Earth Day, which is Wednesday. Growth Day. Growth Day. Feast Day and Still Day. So Feast Day and Still Day. Still Day. Very good. Alright, so SU for that, MO for that, BL for this one, BL. Earth Day will be EA. Growth Day will be GR. Feast Day FE. And of course, Still Day ST. Alright, so those are the days of the week. Very good. This sets the day of the week for the first day of the year 0, and the very first day of year 0 starts on Earth Day. So we're which is Wednesday. Yoink, Wednesday. Alright, so bing bang boom. We don't need to add any more weekdays. Now, the item I don't know is, according to this, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 16 days between full moon and new moon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Interesting. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Is it 15? Oh, so there's 15 days between 1 plus 7 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and look at that, 15. All right, so it's 15 days. So I'll have to start the moons in their settings right here. So here we have leap year settings, leap year rule, which is none. There is no leap year. All right, starting year is year 0. And let me go to the year settings, right? Starting year. Display options is that. Year settings is that. Current year is 1165. We don't care, but year 0 is 1165. Alright, very good. So I set year 0 as that. Alright, very good. Weekday, we have our weekday settings for our names. We've got our leap year settings. Our season settings is spring. Spring starts. Starting date. Well, what's going here? Let me save the configurations, right? And then let me go back into the settings here. So the season settings, right? So it's going, spring starts on spring rise 1, right? And summer starts on summer rise 1. Boom. And fall starts on fall rise 1. Thank you very much. Fall rise 1. And winter starts on, surprise, if you can guess, it's winter rise 1. Alright. So, sure, that's fine. Those are the colors. That's perfectly fine. Moon settings we'll get to. So let's look at month settings. Intercalary month. Year settings. Current year is 1165. Alright, let's save our configuration. Alrighty then. We are saying it's spring rise 1. and we set the current date. There we go. So we're saying here is where spring rise is. And then I want to make sure, and this is wrong because spring rise should start here. So the first day of spring rise for the calendar itself is the here, Earth Day. But I just want to make sure, yeah, no. So I think this is an intercalary calendar. So let me go here. Let me go to the month settings, weekday settings. Oh, wait, no. Let's. Right. It starts on Earth Day. All right. So let me go to the year settings. All right. So 1165 should be year 0. I'm going to make this 1165 in case it's acting up for some reason. Prefix year 0, very good. Settings here. Let's say it's an intercalary month. Let's see what... I don't like that because it changed the month if you do that. Alright, so it's not an intercalary month. Alright. So let's show advanced. Spring rise... Aha! Alright, so spring rise is SPR. Well, spring rise, SPR. The amount of offset days number is used if you want to start a month at 2 instead of 1. Okay, starts on Earth Day right there. There we go. Alright, so let me close that. Spring wane, its abbreviation needs to be SPW, and it's going to start on still day. There is no Sunday. Alright. Okay, so we're going to hide that. Show advanced. Summer is going to be SUM. It starts on Earth Day. There we go. No day offset. Close that. Summer wane is going to be SUW. And summer wane starts on Sunday. Interesting. Which is good. Alright. Summer wane, hide the advanced. Fall rise is going to be FAL. Fall rise starts on growth day. There we go. And fall wane is FAW. And fall wane starts on Sunday, which is fine. Hide the advance there. Winter rise is going to be WIN, WIN. And winter rise starts on growth day. And last but not least, winter wane is WIW. And winter wane starts on Sunday. Alright. So let me close that. Let me save my configuration. Alright, so there we go. So that's starting here. 1165, that's going to start. Let's make sure that is correct. And it is. And then that's going to start here. Now let's see, because I want the very first day to start here, right? Now the question is, I want the months to continue, right? So if we look at the end winter wane of 1165, start wane or spring rise starts on growth day, not Earth Day, right? So the question is, if I traverse through this calendar, see, it starts on Earth Day. So I don't want that, right? So now I need to figure out how to make that change. Alright, so let's go in here. So let's go to my month setting. Alright. So the question is, how do I make it so that the months basically run through each other, right? So once you start on that first Earth Day, then it's going to progress naturally, right? So if I go here, so I don't want an offset. See, I don't want it to always start on a day, right? So default. So we're going to do default, right? So we're going to choose default. Default. And default. Here we go. And default again. Default. Advanced. Default. Default, advanced, and last but not 8, we're gonna go default. Boom. All right. So let's hide that advanced. Let us save our configuration. So it started on the 1st because I think I told the calendar it starts here, or I told the year that it starts on Earth Day. Okay, that one starts there, that one goes there, which is fine. Right? Yes, alright, so let's see what happens when we get to the end of the year. Very good, it starts growth day. Alright, so the year is acting normally now. So we're here on the 1st, right here. There's the day that we're at right now. I don't care about the clock, right? I don't want I don't want that. So let me see if there's a way for me to can I display, where's my settings? Can I just say no clock? Pause real time, that's nice. Set daytime across, right? No. No, no. Client settings, theme is dark, open, open. Blah, 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 nothing. Alright, so we'll have to figure that out as well later. Don't care about importing anything. Alright. So the last thing I want to do is, looks like there's more settings. Time settings. Do we want time? Show clock? Nah. I don't care about the clock. Alright. Note settings. Note default player visibility. For new notes, if by default the player visibility option is checked or not. Note default player visibility. Send reminder on login. Alright, we've got to figure this out because it would be nice to make notes on the calendar. Now I do need to indicate when a holiday is. So we'll have to see if we can set holidays. So there's season settings right here. And there's moon settings, which is nice. The moon cycle length is 30 days. Cycle adjustment, sure. We're new moon year. New moon year is, which is wrong because I need to set the new moon for the 16th of spring rise, but we're going to say 1165. Right? No. New moon, month and day. The month and day of a new moon to use as reference. So we're going to say spring rise, the 16th is the new moon. Very good. Alright, it's a 30-day cycle. And we're going to, I'm assuming this gives me 30 days. 6.5, that's 13, that's 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 days. Okay, very good. And that's new moon. Very good. Waning, first quarter. All right. So let's save this configuration. All right. So it's showing new moon on the first, and the first is showing up as 1, which is wrong once again. It needs to be Earth Day, right? So we need to figure that out. Let me see here. So I don't care about that. Year setting. Year prefix, year name behavior, which is fine. I need to be able to set the first day for the first year, right? General settings. Okay, display options, which is fine. Don't care about that. Year I would like for this to be settable, right? I love to set the day. So weekday settings. So we're going to say Sunday, right? Sets the day of the week that the first day of year 0 starts on. Starting day is Earth Day, right there. And then we don't want any, right, nothing there. That's the week. So we want, yeah, the week, Sunday. Should go to rest, weekday description. Okay, that's nice. So month setting, spring rise. We're going to put default right there. All right, so let's save the configuration. There we go. All right, now the only problem is it's saying Earth Day is new moon, right? Which is wrong. The first day is full moon is what's on the first day. So let's go to my moon settings here. All right, so we're going to say it starts on the spring wane, spring, there we go. Spring rise the 16th is when it starts. Let me save that configuration. All right, there it is. Perfect. So the full moon is here. The new moon is there. The full moon is on the 30th, unfortunately. And that is, I'm looking at the wrong calendar. It's on the 31st, which is perfect. Then the next full moon should be on the 1st of the next month, which is correct. All right, now this is wrong, right? We need the first day to start on Earth Day, which is there. So year, month setting. Show advanced. There should default. Hide. Save. There we go. All right. Now it seems to be acting correctly. So there's the first right there, which is where we're starting. We're starting on Earth Day, Spring Rise, 1165 AS. So that's where it is. Now I have a calendar, hopefully, that will run through the game as we play, so I can keep track of my days there. Now, the question was, right, so in my journal, I was going to indicate, et cetera, et cetera. So I did roll a legend in the Legends and Adventures life path. You roll up a starting legend. Okay, my starting legend, which has a number of steps, a number of random tables that you roll on, was a long time ago during the Alder Wars. 345 years in the past, there was a wise king who sought an enemy because of a promise and traveled to a cave located close by in a forest in the direction of north. As the legend goes, it is said that he was enchanted and that at the location there is gold, lots of gold, but also aggressive wolfkin. So what that means technically is this sets our first kind of goal, right? I need to re-roll the weather because I need to use the weather for the actual solo expansion. I need to use the weather table there to determine what my wind, rain, and general temperature is, right? So we're in spring rise, so it's the cold months, but there's not snow. At most, it can be biting cold or mild cold, right? It can be biting, which is significant, which means we basically be sitting still day one. All right, so now that I've done all these settings, I'm going to close this. I am going to stop my stream, and then I'm going to set up a new default stream for Forbidden Land Solo, Episode 1, right? Let me stop my stream. I'll be right back.